Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Natural Wellness Tips podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jennifer Shaw. So excited to be here with you guys today. I have yet another incredible guest who actually was one of my first guests on the podcast many moons ago, over 100 episodes ago. I have Caitlin Parsons with me today. I'm going to introduce you to her in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning into the podcast, carving time out of your schedule to find space and information and knowledge to become the healthiest, happiest version of yourself. You guys know I love helping people create healthy, sustainable habits that can really work with them throughout a lifetime. And Caitlin is the exact same. We're going to talk about so many things as it comes to our stories around pain, both emotionally and physically, and I cannot wait to dive in. If you guys haven't done this yet, head over to Instagram. Make sure you give me a follow, Natural Wellness Tips. Say hello, drop in. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of on the podcast. If you have a chance today, leave a review on iTunes or Spotify. I will highlight a review at the end of each and every podcast. So I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let's dive in. I want to introduce you again to Caitlin. Caitlin is a dear friend of mine, and we have been on this journey of entrepreneurship and healing just for almost 4 years now that we've known each other, which is kind of fun. So much has changed, maybe even 5. Wow, so much has changed in that time. But anyway, Caitlin is a chronic pain survivor, a yoga therapist, and founder and CEO of Caitlin Parsons Yoga Therapy, a yoga therapy and wellness company. She recently made her dreams a reality by quitting her full-time job as a dental hygienist. To pursue her passion and purpose, helping others get back into alignment. Now she uses her personal and professional experience with chronic pain, stress, and anxiety, and injury recovery to help women step back into their own alignment. Her monthly yoga wellness program, membership program helps people live pain-free, ditch stress and anxiety, and create balance throughout their bodies, minds, and lives. Welcome back to the show, Caitlin.
Thank you. It is so good to be here.
It is. It's so nice to have this conversation again. It's so nice to get to dive deeper. I've loved being a part of your journey and watching you grow and watching you evolve and watching you step into your power of just truly helping people. When we first met, it was something you were doing on the side and fitting in when you could around your busy schedule. It's just been so great to see the evolution. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about why this journey of pain, of anxiety, of stress has become such a driving force for you.
Yeah. I am so passionate about helping people live a pain-free life and ditch stress and anxiety. And it really started with my personal journey with both of them. It really started when I was working as a dental hygienist. I graduated and was starting working full-time when I was 21 years old as a dental hygienist and went right into just working a ton. And at that time, I had done sports growing up, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't as focused on my physical health or mental health at all. And so working 6 days a week, I was working as a dental hygienist 6 days a week and working as part-time at Panera Bread just for like extra money, Yeah. So I was insanely busy and stressed and overwhelmed, and I put it all on myself. And I would go home from work at 22 and be like, my whole body was aching. And it took me complaining to myself about it over and over again to finally be like, okay, I need to do something different. What I'm doing isn't working. And that's when I strolled into, it wasn't my first yoga class, but first consistent yoga class. And I started to just feel a glimpse of better and in my body and my mind, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it. It wasn't like my shoulder pain went away or my anxiety went away, but I started to feel lighter. And what I didn't know how to articulate then was I just felt more in my body. And so kept going to yoga. And finally I started to be like, there has to be something if this yoga is making me feel in general better, there has to be something that can help me and my community of dental professionals, because I was not the only one that was in pain. Actually, so many people in dental retire early or quit because pain is just so, it's normalized, unfortunately. So I was committed to, there has to be something that is specific to what we do. And I had that thought, and I will never forget, like this, it was like my first, what I would say, like intuitive download that was like, you have to heal yourself and you get to heal other people. Like that is the journey. And it started to just wake me up. And that led to my first yoga teacher training, led me to moving to San Diego, led me to my first yoga therapy training, becoming a yoga therapist. And my whole 1,000-hour yoga therapy training was really all about understanding the body even more, the pain response, stress response. I healed my own pain, started to heal my layers of anxiety and stress through that. And then just started to come up with programs and plans and ideas. I literally like dove in and like ate up everything. All of my teachers, I would go to all of their classes. Like I was just fascinated with how can I help people like me feel better? Because I knew if I'm 22, 23, 24 years old and I feel like this, I feel this crappy, imagine in 20 years, imagine people that are doing this long term, whether it's dental hygiene and that profession, or just sitting or just feeling like crap. And I remember when I started to feel better, it became really clear of how shitty I felt when I was in pain and had chronic anxiety, and how I was almost just in this loop of like, that's all I knew. And I didn't know how to get out of it. And so I'm essentially, long story short, really committed to helping people break the loop of whether it's chronic pain or the stress loop or anxiety, or just stepping into kind of the next evolution. Is that more of an evolution of my work is helping people step more into their power, owning their truth, and breaking down those limiting beliefs, creating like healthy habits, but also just habits in our mindset and how we live our life.
Mm. Oh, I love it. I wrote some notes down because I'm like, oh, I don't want to forget to say this. I don't want to forget. Okay. One of the things that you had said was like, you said it in multiple ways, normalizing pain, normalizing feeling bad. Like until you started to feel good, you didn't realize how bad you felt. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's something so powerful for us to talk on.
Mm-hmm.
Is how many of you guys listening have things in your head that you're like, well, this is just how it is. My mom has this pain, so I do too. My colleagues have this pain, so I do too. My whole family has anxiety, so it's just the way it is. I've always had heartburn when I lay down at night. That's just the way it is. I've always been bloated. It's just my body doesn't digest food well. Like, how many of you guys listening? I've always had headaches. It's just part of my life. Like, how many of you guys listening? My guess is over almost like 99%, if not 100% of you have things that you're saying, yes, that's just like, I settle, I accept, that's like my normal. And it's just something that I've grown to embrace because I don't know how to change it. It's almost like we're like, oh, we'll just be friends, even though this is a horrible part of me. Right. And it is not until you're willing to peel back the layers, do the work, do the healing, that you realize how good your body can feel.
Mm. Yeah, I literally have like chills and I have like tears in my eyes, because I think both of us know how crappy life can feel, and how just really simple steps over and over, or simple habits or simple changes in our thoughts and our actions and our how we speak to ourselves, how much that literally, that's just life changing. And that, I mean, even just on a physical level, when we talk about getting out of pain, not having my low back pain or my shoulder pain anymore, how much energy that took from me. First of all, just being in pain, never mind thinking about the pain, never mind trying to go on runs and then being in pain after, and then how maybe grumpy I was towards other people, and like the ripple effect that creates.
Yeah. And if you're sitting there listening and you're hearing this and you're like, yes, that all makes sense.
Now what?
And you're stuck and you're like, yeah, now what? I urge you to give yourself grace and understand that if you're going to make changes, sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better. And you can't turn back at the first sign of things getting worse, right? Like it's going to get harder before it gets easier. And I think that's where having somebody like you to support in the yoga and the meditation and things that you do and the mindset work is so powerful for people looking to heal that, right? Where people looking to like just like more focus on like sustainable healthy habits, that's where I come in, right? Like we do the same thing in two different ways. And what is so powerful about the way that you work with people is it's so accessible through the membership. And everything's right there because you need someone who's saying to you, I know that your back hurts and I know that you're doing this and it's uncomfortable, but here's why you're doing it. Here's what you're working towards. And having that companionship, that community, that accountability, that support is so powerful because it's lonely to say, I want different.
And even just in regards to, I don't know how I want to say this, we'll just see what comes up, but I'm thinking about people that are on a pain journey, for instance, and it can be, we were talking about this yesterday in the live, how so often when we're in pain or when we have anxiety, it's like we're masking it, we're shoving it down, we're trying to pretend it doesn't exist, we're running away from it. And that's not true for everyone. However, that's really common. I did that for a really long time with my pain. I pretended it didn't exist. I hoped it would go away, and I just kind of kept going. And what is so important, especially about having support of someone else, or just even being in like community, like aligned, we are normalizing having a conversation with our body. We are normalizing getting more clear on what our body is telling us, because our body gives us signals. My low back was telling me over and over again, it's aching when you do this. If you do this, it feels better. And I was like, okay, we're still just shoving it down. We're not going to pay attention. But those are the signs that help you and lead you down the path of healing. But when we're choosing to ignore it or not be around people that are normalizing that conversation, it can be really hard and even more isolating and lonely.
Yeah. Especially when there's people in your life who aren't ready to make the shifts and are then looking at you saying, oh, but why are you, not running anymore? Why are you not drinking anymore? Why, like, what? That seems crazy. You're just going to let that go. Like, you have other people's negative thoughts and negative patterns are going to come in and cloud you if you don't have somebody to turn to and be like, I know why I'm doing this. I know why I want to feel better. I know why I want to move my body. And I think that's so important to surround yourself with people that understand that healing. And I was in severe chronic pain for over 5 years. And when I started to get better and then actually talk about my pain, I have people now that hear my story and are like, I had no idea. I had no idea anything was wrong with you. You always seemed happy. Well, that's what I was taught to do, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't feel safe to express that I needed help. I mean, I'm still learning with my partner that it's okay to ask for help because I've for so many years was like, I will shoulder this. And then you're physically shouldering issues, you're emotionally shouldering issues, you're spiritually shouldering issues. It's like, it's just so heavy. It's so heavy. And I love that you really speak on the fact it's not pain, but it's pain, it's stress, and it's anxiety. And to me, it becomes this cyclical thing where then you're not sleeping, your stress is increasing, your anxiety is increasing, your pain's increasing, and then you're still not sleeping, you're eating crappier food, you're not moving your body, you're going around and around what I call the stress cycle. And it's like, wee, and it just like picks up pace. And you're like, you're the snowball rolling down the hill. Yeah. And you're like, crap, how do I even get out from here?
Yeah. Slow down in one step, right?
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to just give yourself permission to be.
Yeah. And to give yourself permission to choose you too. That was one of the hardest things that I did was I chose me when my parents didn't understand. My parents normalized the pain route, the stress route. That's how they lived. So it was uncomfortable when I started to take care of myself and when I started to choose me because they weren't choosing themselves. And some people view that as selfish. And yet I think it's one of the most empowering things that we can do is to choose our health and to choose our happiness and to choose us. Because when we choose us, we have so much more to give from like an actual full place rather than like depletion and resentment and overwhelm, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so well said. So well said. I always say that our healing journey shines a mirror on those around us. And if those around us aren't wanting to look in the mirror, they will criticize or nitpick our journey because it's making them feel insecure about theirs. Mm-hmm. It's making them subconsciously recall that memory of when they were 20, realizing that they weren't fulfilled in life, but continuing on the journey anyway. It's making them feel more self-conscious about the 6-pack of beer they're about to drink, right? It's like, it's making them feel more self-conscious about the fact that they aren't moving their body or healing their body or seeking the support or part of a membership community like Align, right? Like, it's making them feel and see things that they have tucked away. And that can be really, really hard.
I think that goes back to, like you were saying, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better, or it gets harder before it gets better, because there is that, not that you lose connection or have to lose relationships by any mean, but sometimes relationships change when you choose to focus on you and take care of yourself. And that's a hard piece to the puzzle. And again, that's not true for everyone or everything, everyone's journey, but it can be in certain instances for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the other thing that you had said kind of brushed over, and I want to highlight this because I think some people don't understand this, is most of the time when someone is a yoga teacher, they're a 200-hour yoga teacher. So for instance, I'm a 200-hour yoga teacher. I also am a doctor of physical therapy. So I have a lot of backing there that leads me to have a lot more knowledge than the average 200-hour teacher trainer. Then some people go on to take a 300-hour to become a 500-hour teacher trainer or yoga teacher, which is a goal of mine for sure at some point. But one of the things you brushed over was that your 1,000-hour yoga therapy training. That's a lot of hours. And I would love for you to explain the difference between a yoga teacher and a yoga therapist, and why I think the importance of understanding that is key. And then I'll kind of go from there once you explain that. I would love for you to start there.
Yeah. So as you touched on, a regular yoga teacher that is trained has 200 hours, where to be a certified yoga therapist, among many other things, is 1,000 hours. So a lot more studying, a lot more. I mean, we do case studies, we're working with hospitals, we're working with healthcare, and there's a lot of different focuses with yoga therapy. So I describe yoga therapy as using all of the tools that yoga has, because yoga isn't just asana, it's not just postures, but using everything that yoga has for specific therapeutic benefits. And so you can use yoga therapy to help chronic pain, obviously, but multiple sclerosis. You can do it for depression, anxiety, like almost you name it, you can use yoga therapy to support it. So I focused a big part of my training, like I said, on pain, on the physical body, on helping people heal, on stress, anxiety, and obviously deepening my spiritual background as well. So really it's hours, it's experience, it's I'm interested to see, this is a common one that people say as yoga therapists, and I don't say it to diminish, you have a doctorate in physical therapy. So it's not, but an easy way for people that don't understand it is it's almost like yoga meets physical therapy, where it's not, I'm not bringing people through like warrior 1, warrior 2, these big standing poses, but actually I'm breaking down in private sessions. We're mostly on our back, honestly, but breaking down really, really small movements to increase how they move their body, to improve their posture, to improve overall function. So their body is working more optimally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. And I think that's the point there is, it's not like, there's so many different options out there for yoga classes.
Yes.
Online, in person. What's different with you is that it's not just, okay, I mean, granted, if you look at my Instagram, it's all about the fancy asana. I'm like handstands, doing all the crazy stuff. I love that stuff. It's beautiful, but it's one tiny, teeny piece of yoga. It happens to be a piece that people really like to look at, and that's fine. Doing pelvic tilts on your back is not really going to draw an Instagram following.
I tried.
but it's worth trying.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do it in like a reel behind a like pretty picture. And I'm like, look at the pretty picture. Ooh, now I got you. Look at pelvic tilts. Cool. You should do them. But it's so much deeper into actually evolving the way you move in space, the way you move your body, the awareness around how your body moves. And that's what I wanted to clarify for people that are like, why should I pick Aligned if I want yoga classes over, Joe Schmo's yoga membership? Because what Caitlin teaches is actual movement of the body and healing of the movement patterns of the body because of her training and her knowledge. Whereas that is most likely not taught in many of the other membership programs. So you're going to gain so much more out of it, and understanding of the physical and emotional body and how they're intertwined. And that's just what I really wanted to speak on, is this isn't just a yoga membership. This is a movement membership, and it's about changing how your body sits in a chair, walks through life, cooks dinner, does the dishes, makes the bed, folds the laundry. It's about changing everything about your daily life. And that's what Aligned is about.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love that. That's really what I'm about. I had someone recently, they were interested in private sessions, and I kind of broke down for her. I offer a whole package, and I was breaking it down for her. And she's like, wow, looking it up, like a yoga teacher is half that price, or whatever she said. And I'm like, yes, because you don't just get the in-person sessions. It's not just what we do on the mat. Our mat is almost like the lab, where real life is where we actually make the changes. So I'm the guide to help you figure out how you can sit in your car and be comfortable, or how you can, like you said, cook dinner and be comfortable, because the way you move in one area, the way you move on your mat is how you're moving everywhere else for the most part. So if you're not moving properly on the mat, if you're not moving properly in the kitchen, you're most likely doing it everywhere in your life.
Absolutely. Okay. I want to ask you one other question, because I love chatting this topic, and it, but I know you've used oils for a long time, and I know recently you've kind of gotten a little bit more into them and gotten a little more excited about them. And I wanted to kind of just open that up to you and just see how you're integrating them in your daily routine, in your yoga practice, and what that's been like for you. Because I know now you've been leaning into some of the doTERRA oils, which makes my heart so happy. So I just wanted to kind of open that up for you before we go into the rapid fire questions.
Yes. Like you said, I'm more than tiptoeing into it. I am incorporating them into my personal practice, into my daily life. Like I said to you yesterday, I'm obsessed with wild orange for like my mental focus and clarity and mood. It feels so good. But a lot of the oils I'm using, like to just connect me deeper into my body, connect me deeper into the relaxation response. And I haven't even I've used some of the oils for pain, but I haven't even dove into them because I know, like, I'm so excited to get there too, and to incorporate them with my private clients. Because it's just like we talk about, it's another tool to helping us connect deeper and to feel better. And yeah, so I am obsessed already.
I love it. I love it. And how are you using the wild orange? Because I know a lot of people love that oil, but you said you were kind of leaning towards it in the morning. How are you using it?
Yeah, morning or even like midday. It feels like a good midday pick me up. So I will just put a couple of drops in my palm and breathe that bad boy in. But I started putting it next to my bed. So when I wake up in the morning, it's not like I put it there so my mind would see it and grab it. But now I'm like, ooh, I want to grab it. It's not just becoming a habit anymore. It's something that I desire.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so fun for people to hear like actual routines of what we're doing. Like, how are we incorporating these things? Because
Mhm.
it's powerful to like grab that oil before yoga practice and set an intention, to grab that oil in the morning and set an intention, like to just have clarity around the day. And like it helps us get deeper into our physical and emotional body. And it's so cool. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
I think one of the best things that I did was starting to like the oils that I like to use on my mat are near my yoga mat. My wild orange is by my bed. So until it becomes a way of living, I'm constantly being reminded when I'm doing those things and constantly really excited when I see it and I get to dive in. But I think a lot of people, it's just like with any habits, we get out of the routine, we forget. So yeah, keeping it around is one of the keeping it out and about is
Love
really
that. I love
helpful.
that. I mean, I've been using them for 7 years and they're still like by the water, on my desk, by my nightstand, on my dresser. So I still keep them right where they're easy to grab when I'm doing things. So
Yeah.
it's nice. Okay, I've got some rapid fire questions for you. What is your number one health and wellness tip for the listeners?
Ooh. Um, for some reason, move your body every day came up. Like, take care of you, commit to, in moving your body, by the way, doesn't have to be handstands, and although those are great too, but it can be, we talked about this yesterday, it can be yoga in bed. So move your body wants to move, even if it's gentle movement of like massaging your joints or something like that, depending on how you feel. But move your body, take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, what's popping into my head is like pop on some good music and have a dance party. That's moving your body. Like,
That's like my new fave.
move your body. I love it. I love it. That's funny. I didn't even know you were like doing that more, but it's like, yeah, I love that. You just, your body craves movement for sure. Okay. So a lot of times people think because we're yoga teachers or in health and wellness that we have it all mastered, and it's not true. Right. So I always ask this question: what's the number one healthy habit that you struggle with? You maybe aren't as consistent as you'd like to be.
Um, Honestly, right now, mine's coming up around food. I got into a bad habit of eating later at night. And I know, um, food tends to be like what I go, and I'm 95% healthy. But I grew up in the 90s. So I grew up with sugar and I'm prone to eating like crap, but I eat really well, but still I was eating at night and like in a bad habit. So I'm kind of recommitting to my digestion and to what feels good in the moment, almost more intuitive eating.
Beautiful.
I'd
I love
say
that.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, what are you most excited about in life right now?
I am honestly mostly excited about Aligned launching my monthly membership. I've had it for almost a year, but we have a new platform, a new portal, and it's been like 6 months of doing a lot of behind the scenes work, and for it to be out in the world and continuing to connect with how many people have benefited from these practices already and how many people get to moving forward, like that scares me and lights me up beyond measure. So yeah.
I just got chills. I love it. Okay. I always ask this question a little selfishly because I'm a big reader. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book right now that I've been diving into is Dear Lover by Daida. He does a lot of, if you're not familiar with him, he has a couple books, but he dives into a lot of like the masculine, feminine in partnership. Yeah, it's a really, really good book. And I've been exploring like masculine, feminine in a lot of areas of my life, but even in business. And yeah, that's my favorite. It's one of those that sits on my nightstand and I keep going back to it over and over. It's not just like a read on through book, but a good continue to go back to. Yeah.
Love it. I'll have to check it out. I've never heard of it. I'm always in.
Good one.
Okay. And then I know people are going to want to find you. Where can they reach out to you?
So website is my name, CaitlinParsons.com, and Instagram is really the main place I hang out, and it's _ Caitlin Parsons is my Instagram.
Awesome. And it's CaitlinParsons for those of you guys listening, but you'll see the link down below on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes. Definitely check her out. _Caitlin Parsons on Instagram. Caitlin Parsons is her website. You'll see the aligned membership there. And definitely check out what she's got going on. It's some amazing stuff. I love her IG. I'm always inspired when I head over there. So thank you, Caitlin, for being on the podcast. I absolutely love having these conversations, and I'm excited for my listeners to get to meet you again.
Yes. Thank you so much. Great to talk with you as always.
As always. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, it means the world to me when you say hi on Instagram, Natural Wellness Tips, when you leave a review. Allie left a review saying, I never write reviews, even though I always read other people's reviews, but I'm obsessed with this podcast. I'm going back and listening to every single one because I just love everything Jennifer talks about. And I'm so happy that I started listening to it. So thank you, Allie, so much for the sweet, sweet review. Head over to iTunes if you haven't. Leave me a review. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of. It helps me show up better as a host. And yeah, I'm just honored to be here with you guys. I will see you guys next week on the podcast. We are live now on YouTube. So if you want to watch the videos over just listening on iTunes or Spotify, you can absolutely do that. And we'll catch you guys next week. So until then, namaste.
Namaste.